Hello ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowbarn, and today we're talking about prayer. Yes, prayer, on this episode of Serious Issues. So I had another video lined up about people's reaction to the Google memo from a couple of weeks ago, but I decided to scrap it because I thought I kind of oversold the point. And then I racked my brain to try and think of another topic because I wanted to do philosophy, and I realized that a lot of what I think about isn't pure philosophy. It's kind of philosophical in relation to politics or technology, but a lot of what I think about is just spirituality. I didn't want to do another spirituality video after I did the What is God video earlier, because I don't want to become like a spirituality channel. I don't want to be some guru on YouTube. And plus, if you talk about spirituality too much, the atheists won't take you seriously. But they're a relatively small minority. Most of us believe in a God of some kind, so maybe I shouldn't care so much what they think. So, to reiterate, as I probably will at the beginning of all these quasi-spiritual videos, I consider myself an agnostic. I tend to believe in a God and an afterlife of some kind, but I'm not about to tell anybody they're wrong. Basically, it's kind of like Neil deGrasse Tyson's answer. When people ask Neil deGrasse Tyson if he believes in God, his answer is, I remain unconvinced. Meaning, I remain unconvinced that there is a God. My answer is the same, but in the opposite direction. I remain unconvinced that there isn't one. I've heard the arguments. I'm not sold. I read Dawkins' book, The God Delusion. I liked it, but I wasn't sold on his basic premise. His basic premise seemed to be, well, who created God? Well, the question of who created God basically presumes the existence of time, which is a concept that has been called into question since before Einstein. But I digress. That's not actually what I came here to talk about today. Prayer. Yes. I don't actually pray a lot. One reason is because there's not really any reason to believe that it works. There's actually a bishop that I really like, you may have heard of, called Bishop John Shelby Spong, and he pointed out that we have no reason to believe, and I wish I remembered the whole quote here. He went through a list. It's a much longer quote than I'm giving here because I can't remember it all, but he basically said something like, we have no reason to believe that any sickness has been cured or any war has been won in response to the prayers of human beings. And he's right. For every person who gets what they pray for, you'll find at least one person who doesn't. And you can excuse that by saying, well, it's part of God's plan. Or if you don't get what you want, you can say, well, it's not part of God's plan. But then, if God has a plan, there's no point in praying. If what you're praying for is part of God's plan, then there's no need to pray for it. If what you're praying for isn't part of God's plan, then there's no point in praying for it. Praying for something that isn't part of God's plan is basically asking God to change his plan. It's presuming that you know what's best for you better than he does. The other reason I don't pray much is because, let's say it works. Let's say that prayer does work. There really isn't anyone who doesn't need it. You know what I mean? Like, I used to pray for stuff like, Lord, help this headache go away, but then I kept thinking, what about like starving kids in third world countries? What about people dying of cancer? What about people who just lost their homes and are now living on the street? What about anybody? It's hard to pray for whatever first world problem is bothering me when there are so many people in the world who need help more than I do. And so it almost seems selfish to pray for my own needs. And everyone needs help. Everyone. If there really is a God who intervenes on behalf of people who need help, then everyone needs it from time to time. In some way, to some degree, everyone needs help. Some of us need help more than others, but everyone needs it. Another reason I don't pray much is because of the football example. If you go to any sports game, you'll have people on both sides of the game praying that their team will win. What if what I'm praying for goes against what somebody else is praying for? If I'm praying for a job, what if I'm praying against somebody else who needs it more than I do? Another reason I don't pray much is because I don't believe that it's God's job to clean up our messes. People look at tragedies like a school shooting or a terrorist attack and say, why would God let this happen? The question isn't why does God let this happen? The question is why do we? Most of the tragedies that happen to us are the result of our own misplaced values. We will continue to repeat these mistakes until we learn not to. Still, having said all that, I do pray occasionally. I mean, why not? At the very least, it doesn't work against me, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it does help a bit. I don't really count on my prayers being answered. I'll pray for little things, and I'll even pray for big things, but I don't think, yeah, that's it, that's all I need to do, I just need to pray, now it's taken care of. No, I don't think that. maybe it'll do something, maybe it won't. You basically have the same luck tossing a coin into a fountain. So, tell me what you think. Do you pray? Do you think prayer accomplishes anything? Do you ever think about the people who need God's help more than you do? Do you think it's God's job to clean up our messes? Thank you for joining me for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, thank you in advance for hitting subscribe, like, share, and commenting below. See you guys next time.